Hey guys, how you all doing? Thank you very much for joining us. I almost missed the start of this live today because Bob and I are just kind of reminiscing about things from the past. Um, but thank you so much for joining us. How have you been over the last couple of weeks, Bob?
I've been pretty good. I finally made some progress on my car. I put out a little short video this morning showing off the new rooftop carrier box that I got. I
Mm.
picked it up at the boss's house. It's really old and really dirty, but it looks pretty nice on camera because I didn't get too close to it to show you how dusty and dirty it was from sitting in his garage for, as best we can figure, it's been in his garage about 25 or 30 years because the first car he had it on was his old Chevy Nova, who knows how long ago. Um, his
Mm.
daughter, who is 24, he has two older daughters, but his youngest daughter, Anna, who is 24, said when I was talking to her about it a few weeks ago at the miniature golf course, she's like, "Oh yeah, I know right where that is. Our Christmas tree's been sitting on it in the garage since the day I was born." And so it's really old, and the hardware didn't fit, so we had to get different hardware for it, and that was a really adventure. And we had to drill a couple of different holes in the bottom to get the hardware to attach to it. But
Mm.
considering a new one of those boxes, the smaller ones cost $1,500 to $2,000, and the nice ones are, $2,500 to $3,000 free,
Mm.
is a much better price, regardless of how old it is. And all the seals still look pretty good because it was in his garage all this time.
Mm. Nice. We just got speaking of all things cars, Papa Carnivore is saying, I drove my car into high water 2 nights ago. Engine dead, looks to be totaled. Bad day. Oh no.
Why would you drive your car into high water? I'm not giving you a hard time, but I mean, you look like you're old enough to know better, just judging from your picture. I mean, haven't you ever, heard the stories of, you may think you know the street, but if you can't see the street underneath the high water, you have no idea how much of it has been washed out or anything like that. I don't know.
Mm.
Maybe it's just the part of the country I come from because I grew up on a high point in Hocking County in southern Ohio, but the road went through low points no matter which way you went. So every time it flooded, we were kind of trapped on our little island
Mm.
and couldn't go anywhere till the water went back down. I am
Ah.
sorry to hear about your car. Okay, it was dark and you couldn't see the water. I apologize, but that's,
Mm.
I do hate to hear about your car. Hopefully, your insurance will pick up
Mm.
that tab for either replacing the car or replacing the engine.
Y-
Um,
Yeah. Hopefully the insurance will cover that.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if depending on what actually happened to it. I don't know if it can be taken apart and dried out and the rings replaced and then put back together or not. I don't know enough about cars. Hopefully, our buddy Charger Mopar will be along shortly because he knows a lot about cars.
Mm. And Papa Carnival is saying made an insurance claim. Hopefully they will pay the entire car off. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that works out for you.
Mm. Um, so wow, we've got a lot of people in already. That's awesome. Um, okay. So if you've got any questions for us or anything you'd like us to discuss, please put it in the chat with a Q in front of it so I can find it. G'day, Liz. We got a question from Liz Bob. How's that grass doing? It was fine. It was green as snot in that last video. Mine is starting to die off finally.
um, I don't know if it's still growing or not. I mowed it. You saw the video. I mowed it, and the very next day it was windy. And I don't have any trees in my front yard, but it was windy enough that the wind blowing from neighbors' houses covered my front yard in leaves. And then, of course, it started raining. So now I have, 5 or 6 lawn bags worth of wet leaves laying on my front lawn that I have to get to. I hate yard work. I want to take a page out of a friend of mine's book. There was this guy that had rental properties in the town I grew up in the county seat of the county I grew up in southern Ohio. And he got tired of cutting grass, and he went through all of his properties and installed AstroTurf on the front yards. And of course, the neighbors complained and took him to court. So,
the neighbors took him to court for that.
Yeah, so they took him to court. He, of course, won. So, as retribution for them wasting his time and costing him money, he went back through and replaced the AstroTurf with Boise State bright blue AstroTurf instead of the green.
Oh, wow.
Because you don't mess with us older people, because we got nothing left to do with our day except figuring out ways to mess you up if you mess with us.
Yeah. So from Aid, stop panicking. I'm here now.
Oh,
g'day, Aid. Thanks for joining.
I'm glad you're here.
And from Michelle, good evening, gents. Greetings from Cork Island. How you doing, Michelle? We've got a question here from Juliet. Dave, do you keep different hours for American audiences? I know George Goodenough does. That's dedication. I'm kind of lucky, I think, because Japan's kind of in this sweet spot where my early morning is North America's kind of afternoon and evening. And so I kind of can catch most of the day. And my afternoon, early evening is kind of Europe's morning. So I'm kind of in this spot where most times work. So I don't have to change things around too much.
Yeah, I mean, like this one, because we started this at 5:30 my time. It'll be 4:30 next week because the clocks change here, right. And I don't think you do that in Japan. It'll still be the same time for you, which I believe you're starting this at 6:30 in the morning your time.
7:30.
7:30. Okay.
Yeah, which is that's a normal time, which is great. Yeah, the only time zone I struggle with in North America is Arizona's, because they're Pacific time sometimes and Mountain time other times because they don't change their clocks. So
right, Arizona doesn't change their clocks, and I think most of Indiana doesn't change their clocks as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's like, when the clocks are changing, it's like it's easy. Everything's synchronized. Just everything's an hour earlier or an hour later. And then you have to go, oh, but hang on. This is Arizona. So what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your question, Juliet. So we've got a super chat from Ed Rosen. Thank you very much. I'm down to 215 pounds today thanks to keto. It's the first time I've weighed this little in about 20 years. Nice work. That's awesome.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Ed.
Yep. That's definitely worth a high five and a fist bump. Good job.
Yeah, good work. Okay, and from Papa Carnivore, Dave, I really enjoyed your recent interview with Mitch. I'll go Carnivore. What are your thoughts on his new carb addiction spectrum? Where on the spectrum are each of you out of 100? I'm 90. I think the carb addiction thing is the spectrum is kind of an important thing to think about, because I think that's reality. Like when you look at someone who can just have one cookie and then put the box away and not touch it again. It's in direct sight all the time they go into the kitchen, and they never touch it again for 2 months. that's someone who's kind of a 1 on the spectrum or something, right? I'm 100. I'm like, that box is not getting out of the kitchen alive, kind of thing. But yeah, I can't touch carbs because it's just like I can't control myself. Where are you on that spectrum, Bob?
It depends on what we're talking about. I'd probably go with about where Papa Carnivore is in 90, but it depends on the carb. If we're talking about ice cream, I'm 100 because they only sell ice cream in single serving containers, whether it's a half pint or a pint or a half gallon or a gallon or one of those big 5-gallon tubs from Walmart. No matter what size tub of ice cream it is, it's going to be a single serving. Because I'll just take a spoon to the container and not stop till I can't go anymore. But for other things, like depending on the type of cookie, you hand me a chocolate chip cookie, that's probably about a 90. But you hand me an oatmeal raisin cookie, that's probably about a 5.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's everything is the same. It just goes, oh, we're doing this again, are we? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't stop. We don't know when we're going to get any more. Okay, and from Sally Lone, 6 weeks on carnivore and shocked by all the improvements on my list. Amazing. Some meat fatigue, but manage that day to day. That meat fatigue will probably go away the further you get in, Sally. But that's great that you're having a lot of good improvements already. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job. And, meat fatigue, there is that. It happens to everyone. A couple of friends of mine that have a carnivore channel, they call it the Great Big Wall of Doom. And when you run into that, there isn't really a whole lot to be done. You might try just fasting. Put your, if you look at say a hamburger patty and you go, ugh, I just can't eat another hamburger patty, then you're probably not truly hungry. So cook up some hamburger patties and then stick them in the fridge. And when you get hungry enough, you'll tear into those hamburger patties without even heating them up. Then you're hungry and the meat fatigue will go away and you'll be fine. There is almost everybody goes through that one period sometime between the 4 and 12 week mark where they're just like, I can't look at another piece of meat, but then it will pass.
Sorry, I'm just starring some
no, that's
chats
okay.
there.
Right ahead and star the chats. We got a lot of people coming in.
Yeah. FX Trader, is it okay to eat fewer calories if you have a few pounds to lose on the carnivore diet? I would try not to be thinking about the calories thing because I would just eat till I would just eat till I was satiated and then stop. I might try and incorporate fasting rather than a bit more extended fasting rather than worry about carnivore calories or something. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, the bottom line easy answer is no, but that requires a little bit of explanation. And the place I will go to is if you go to Professor K's channel, he has a playlist called Body Composition. And there is another popular YouTuber that her thing is priming. And he was one of her guests that month. So he did the priming thing with them. And he was eating, normally he eats between 1,800 and 2,200 calories in a day. And he was stuffing his face with close to 6,000 calories a day for 2 weeks straight, basically eating as much as he could stuff into his face. And he still lost like 15 pounds in 2 weeks. So I actually think I'm not a scientist. I'm a retired truck driver, but as I understand it, as you eat more and more, now obviously you don't want to continue to stuff yourself all day, every day. But if you eat till you're full, and when you're hungry again, you eat again, your body gets used to the fact that it doesn't have to store anything for a rainy day because you kind of trick your body's mechanisms into knowing that there's going to be more food coming, so I don't need to store anything. Now, as far as eating fewer calories, I would try the experiment if you really want to, but I certainly never did. I like eating way too much to do that.
I would think.
Any other thoughts on that, Dave?
Yeah, I would think before trying the fewer calories route, I would maybe be thinking about, are you eating dairy? If you're eating dairy, cut that out. Like I love cheese, and I was when I had started carnivore, I guess I was about a year in, and I was still eating cheese. And someone, Carnivore Kip, had bet me that I couldn't get rid of cheese for a couple of weeks, and I was like, I love cheese, but it's not like I'm not going to die without it. So I thought I'd give it away, and very quickly I lost weight around my middle, and it was almost as if my body had some inflammation, and as a result of that inflammation, it was carrying a bit of extra water. So you might want to give that a try first if you're doing milk or cheese or something like that. Maybe cut that out for a while and see if that helps. Yeah, but thank you for your question.
Yeah, hopefully that answered your question for you.
From Liz, Bob, since you're in the US, are you looking forward to Argentinian beef? They used to be the best quality beef for best quality for beef years and years ago.
This is a really big topic. I will just say that I have nothing against Argentinian beef, and I hope they get some imported to lower the cost of beef here. But the main thing that we need to do as a country to get our beef prices to come down is to get the 70,000 small beef producers back to producing beef that have been driven out of the market by all of the big beef producers that have been trying to control the prices. And it's not just happening here. You know, all of the, because there were, you know, thousands of little places like my little 10-acre farm there. You know, if I decided to do beef there, I could probably raise 4 or 5 cows and sell 4 of them and butcher the other one for myself and keep that going. But all of the small operations have been pushed out, which is why the cost of beef is so high right now. So hopefully the Argentinian beef gets here and lowers the price, but we need to correct the problem of not having nearly enough beef producers.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, just going through.
No, that's okay. While Dave's looking for more comments and questions to put up there, don't forget, whoever channel you are watching on, hit that thumbs up button. And if you've got a moment, flip over to the other channel and hit the thumbs up button on their channel too. That helps boost the attendance, gets this live stream out to more people, and we can get more and more questions that we probably won't get to because it looks like Dave's pretty much filling up the queue now.
Right.
Because you guys are being great about putting questions in there.
Yeah. Just before we get on to that as well, you just reminded me of something there when you said hit the thumbs up button, and I did this. Something on my computer recently has the operating system updated, and when I'm using StreamYard, often when I do a thumbs up or a thumbs down, it'll come up with this little bubble emoji doing a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? And
yeah, that's a StreamYard feature.
Yeah, when I'm recording an interview, that can be really annoying because it often happens at an inappropriate moment. Because it might, if I do this, I'm just holding my hand like this, or I have my pen up like this or something, it can interpret that as a thumbs up. See? And
See, there it is.
someone will be the guest will be saying something like, and yesterday my dog died, and suddenly this thumbs up will appear on my it's kind of it. I've got to work out how to turn it off.
Yeah.
Okay, so from Jeff's, hello, Dave and Bob. I'm carnivore for 8 weeks Friday and no weight loss. Am I normal?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody's different. I wish I could tell you it's going to take X amount of time for you to start losing weight. Depends on what else your body is trying to heal that you don't know about. I mean, the example that I like to use when presented with this question is go look at Kelly Hogan's channel. Dig all the way back to some of her first videos. She went through 6 full months of carnivore before she started to lose any weight. In fact, she gained some because her body had so much to heal. But then once it was done doing the initial healing, at the 6-month mark, the weight just started to melt off of her. So I know that's probably not what you want to hear, that, you want to hear, oh, we'll just go another day and all of your weight's going to fall off and everything's going to be great. But I can't say that. It's different for everybody. Look at some of the people, and of course, if you look at Kelly Hogan, you'd be hard pressed to find an ounce of fat on that girl anywhere nowadays.
And just to follow up on that, Ed is saying, Jeff, do you feel better? And that's actually a good question. So, we can tend to get hung up on the weight loss, or it's not happening, or it's going too slowly. But it's often, sorry, I've just got a phone call I need to answer coming through. Just 1 second, Bob.
Go ahead and answer that. I will finish what you were talking about. Yes, the weight loss, I like to talk of it as being a side effect. Feeling better, healing stuff. The weight loss is just secondary. Yes, I have lost a lot of weight, and Dave has lost a good amount of weight, but me being able to stand and walk and cut my own grass and get off all the meds that I was on is the much bigger story. If you go back and watch some of Dave's first videos, watching him walk with his limp, struggling to get up and down stairs, and then you go just 6-8 months into it, and you see him walk up the stairs to like the 3rd or 4th step, and then he jumps back down. I mean, that is what carnivore is really all about. Your body will naturally land on whatever it feels your composition or weight should be eventually. But enjoy your hands working again because your arthritis feels better, or being able to stand up and walk down to the corner and back. All of the other things that come with being carnivore. Weight loss is truly secondary, even though that's the first thing everybody wants to talk about. Are you back yet, Dave?
Yeah, I am. So, yeah, thanks, Bob. Papa Carnivore is just saying, my kryptonite for carb addiction is chocolate, cookies, candy, ice cream, muffins, Coke, cake, pie, bread. I can moderate some fresh berries with some cheese or yogurt or some pickled sauerkraut. Yeah, your list sounds very similar to mine.
I'm with you on that, Papa Carnivore. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you put it all together, chocolate cake with chocolate ice cream in the middle as the middle thing, like an ice cream cake, and then, some chocolate syrup over the top. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can tear into that.
Yeah. So that's why I have to be an abstainer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just, I just can't do it. I mean, because I know me, like with ice cream, single serving container. Always. It's always been a single serving container. You know, I'd go to the store and it's like, I feel like I can splurge on the better brand of ice cream, and I'll get this flavor that I really like, and I'll have ice cream for 8 or 10 desserts over the course of the next couple of weeks. And before you know it, it's just gone.
Yeah.
It's like almost like the cereal box when we were kids. You know, we open up the box of cereal, you pour yourself a bowl of cereal, put some milk on it. There's a little bit of milk left at the bottom. So instead of just drinking the milk, because kids never just drink milk, you dump a little more cereal into it to use up the milk. And you still got a little milk left, so you dump a little more cereal into it, but then you sneezed or shook. You got way too much cereal for the milk, so you have to add a little bit of milk. And you keep doing that until all of a sudden the brand new box of cereal is gone. That's why I abstain, because I'm really good at going through what should be a normal person's, 5 or 6 or 7 meals out of a box becomes one. And then I'm hungry a couple hours later too.
Yeah. The thing with me, whenever I ate cereal, it was always like I'm halfway through the bowl and the only thing I'm thinking about is where's the next bowl of cereal? It's really bad. Yeah. Okay, Carnivore Steve, wondering if it's possible to have insulin resistance without being pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. Ooh. What are your thoughts on that, Bob?
Okay. Well, if you go watch Professor K, he's going to tell you that insulin resistance is a construct. It's not really a thing. Insulin resistance is actually a physiological response in the body from something called the Randall cycle, that when you mix carbs with fats, your cells become replete with energy and they lock the doors from the inside. But because the cells are locked and you can't take anything out of your bloodstream, which is a physiological response, but your sugar is still high in your blood, your body releases more insulin. And that excess of insulin is what they call insulin resistance, even though it's a physiologic response within the body. The short answer to your question is yes, because as Dr. Berry explains, and if you go back to his Carnivore 101 video series, as he explains, when you are diagnosed with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, the reason you're already so damaged when they diagnose it is because what's the first thing they tell you when you're coming for a doctor's appointment? Well, be sure you have fasted for 12 hours before you come in for your appointment, because we're going to check you and do blood work. Well, after 12 hours of not eating, your blood sugar is going to be low. But if they would actually do a fasting insulin level, they would realize that your insulin has slowly been elevating over time. And if they would check that, they would catch prediabetes and type 2 diabetes years earlier. So yes, it is possible to have hyperinsulinemia long before you're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. I know I didn't do a very good job of explaining all of that, because I'm not a scientist. I don't play one on TV. I'm just a retired truck driver. But there are a lot of good videos on other channels that talk about this. But what are your thoughts about this, Dave?
Yeah, I think actually I spoke to someone yesterday who talked about insulin resistance and how she was insulin resistant for a really long time, but it wasn't. The problem showed up in different areas rather than getting to pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes. It was just her health was deteriorating because of that insulin resistance. So yeah, it's and Aid has a comment here that kind of relates. Diabetes is an adaptation. It's what your body is supposed to do. It's just that today there's an endless supply of food which is full of sugar. Yeah. So it was never meant. There was never meant to be this constant supply of of the thing that causes the problem.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at, I don't remember the exact number, but I was reading an article that was saying something about how kids today, by the time they're 5 years old, have consumed more sugar than our grandparents would have in their entire life.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're like, why are these kids all getting fatty liver disease? What's going on? And it's like, well,
well,
just look at the
because they're,
pattern.
yeah. I mean, even, I just did a video about this a couple of days ago. I mean, look at the coffee drinks. Oh, I'm carnivore, but I'm still having a cup of coffee in the morning and I'm not losing any weight and I'm not feeling any better. And what am I doing wrong? Well, are you having coffee that looks like this? Just black coffee or maybe a little bit of heavy cream? Or is your one coffee a day going to Starbucks and getting a grande double caramel macchiato or whatever the heck that drink is that has, 172 grams of sugar, which is actually more than you get out of 5 Krispy Kreme donuts?
Did you ever see a movie called LA Story with Steve Martin?
I remember the name, don't remember the movie.
So maybe it was the late 80s, early 90s. There was like he's at a cafe and he's ordering, and it's like basically taking off. It's a look at kind of LA culture at that time. And the waiter comes to take his order for coffee, the table's order for coffee, and Steve Martin just orders something ridiculous, and it's like, it seemed so ridiculous at the time, but now that's what it's like. No one could just go and order, I'll have a black coffee, thanks. It's like, you see, I'll have a black coffee, thanks. It's all like, I want this syrup and I want this thing and I want that thing in it, and it's got to have a twist of this and a twist of that, and it's a bit ridiculous.
So much sugar out there.
So from Liz, something I've realized: some people leaving carnivore are upset because they haven't hit their ideal weight, even though they are at a healthy weight. Supermodel thin does not always equal health. Yeah, I mean, no one's meant to be 1% body fat. That's not healthy. Yeah.
That's just it. That's one of the big problems that people run into is they'll sit there and they'll decide that, oh, this is the weight I need to get to. Well, I hate to break it to you, but you may or may not ever get to that weight. What are you basing that ideal weight that you should be at on? And people, they just get impatient, even if they've been on carnivore for 2 or 3 years and they're like, oh, I'm just not getting there. Because I mean, I've been on it for 3.5 years now, and I still think I have weight to lose, and I do. But I cannot complain because I spent the previous 58.5, 59 years eating what I thought was a fairly okay diet at the time. But, you can't expect 50 plus years of damage to go away even in 3 or 4 short years. You just can't. Now, do most of us feel miraculously better after 6 months? Well, yeah. I mean, if you can't stand up for more than a couple of minutes without your back screaming at you like somebody's smacking you in the back with a hot sledgehammer, and that goes away, you're going to notice pretty quick. But it still takes a really long, long time. But that's an excellent point, Carnivore Science. Any other thoughts on that there, Dave?
No, I think you covered it. I just noticed this one from Aid. Dave's favorite childhood snack was Cocoa Pops with Brecca chocolate milk. Yeah. Oh, that makes me feel sick thinking about that kind of thing now. one of the worst things I used to like as a cereal when I was younger was Sultana Bran. I guess maybe in the States you would call that Raisin Bran. So it's like bran flakes and sultanas raisins, and it's like you think I'm being so healthy. There's this dried fruit in here, and it's like the bran that's giving me the fiber I need, and blah blah blah, and it's just a sugar bomb. It's awful. And you're thinking to yourself, I'm eating healthy and it tastes pretty good too. So I'm like, this is awesome. And yeah, it's just like it's having sugar. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
And I mean, all of those marketing things. I mean, there was once upon a time, I remember there was a cereal that came out. Oh, it was sometime in my 20s. It was called Fiber One. And it was actually fairly tasty. But after eating it for a couple, 3 mornings in a row, I renamed it to Colon Blow.
You know, I about a year ago, I was walking. I went out for a walk. I'm walking home, and I stopped in at the convenience store to buy a bottle of water. And I'm just thinking of this because you mentioned fiber. And I noticed that the bottle of water that I usually buy, there's a new brand of that as well in the fridge. And it's slightly different color label. And it's got a word on it, fiber. And I'm like, "Oh, it's water." And it's like water with added fiber. It's like, what's happening to this planet? And but it's I haven't seen it for sale anywhere recently, so it must have gone over like a lead balloon. Yeah, it obviously didn't sell so well. So people are voting with their wallets. They don't want fiber in their water. So question from Carnivore Steve.
Yeah, we
Wondering
already
if it's
did this one.
Oh, we did that one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Deborah Lane. Why do doctors still tell you to lower salt even if they know you're a keto or carnivore? It's because they're just operating from a script, and they're not thinking about the nuance of whether it's keto, carnivore, or anything else. They're just going, well, salt's bad. That's what my textbook said. So salt's bad. There's no questioning it, I guess. Do you got any thoughts on that, Bob?
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. Doctors have their script that they run from, and salt is never an enemy if you're metabolically healthy. If you get too much salt into your system, it doesn't make your blood pressure go up. You just pee it out. The thing that makes you retain salt, which then makes you retain water, which then makes you get inflammation and puffiness and all of the bad things that they associate with salt, it's really caused by sugar. Because if you're metabolically healthy, because I've been carnivore for 3.5 years, and I was just going through trying to figure out, I don't know if I've got it right or not, but in 3.5 years, I've gone through roughly 10 pounds of salt. And my blood pressure is what I would consider low. But again, that's just an N equals 1 thing there. You can't say, oh, well, Bob said it's okay to eat 10 pounds of salt. Well, that's me.
Yeah. Okay. So just a follow on to that from Deborah. Have lost over 35 pounds in a year, but I am not better. In fact, my health is horrible. Maybe oxalate dumping.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that it could be. The first thing I would suggest is get a professional consultation from whether it be Dr. Barry or Professor K or whoever. Get yourself a professional consultation. The other thing to look at is perhaps watch Dr. Barry's Carnivore 101, because a lot of our foods today are missing the minerals that they contained 40, 50, 60, 100 years ago. So you might try getting a mineral supplement um, just to see if that does it. Um, Perhaps try a different salt.
Mm.
There are a lot of little things to try, and it could be some oxalate dumping as well. Sally Norton seems to be the expert on oxalate dumping. I would search YouTube for Sally Norton and watch some of her videos. Um, but if you've been doing it for a whole year, I would. It's probably time to get a professional consultation. And every time you think of a symptom that you have, by when you say your health is horrible, write all those symptoms down and then give somebody like Professor K or Dr. Barry a call and see what they have to say. Because the more symptoms you can give him, the more likely he can say, oh, try upping your magnesium or try upping your salt, or, there are a lot of little trace minerals that it could be as well. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Dave?
No, yeah, I think professional consultation would be good. In the interim, well, because I imagine, like, once you reach out to one of them, they've probably got a bit of a wait time to see them. In the meantime, I would be looking at how you're eating and just try and treat it like more of an elimination diet than it already is, and kind of get rid of as much as you can to get to a baseline and then bring things back in. So, like, for example, if you're doing just a regular carnivore diet where you're eating bacon and eggs and steak and ground beef and stuff like that, I would try and go to, doing just steak and water for a period of time and see how you feel. And if you start to feel better, then perhaps you had some kind of sensitivity to something else that was in there, and you can kind of work out what that was by slowly adding one thing at a time in a controlled way. And just on the minerals point that Bob was talking about, the other thing is getting to a baseline where you're making sure you do have enough of the magnesium and things like that in your day to day. Because, like, as Aid has mentioned here, if you're still doing coffee is a diuretic, and it's going to rip magnesium and electrolytes from your body. And on top of that, I think coffee is actually going to prevent you, even the magnesium that doesn't get ripped away, coffee is going to actively kind of work against it being absorbed. So, yeah, that's another thing to consider. And that's part of the reason I'm doing a little bit of a coffee experiment now. I'm only doing one a day rather than my usual uncountable number a day, to see if that improves things like my sleep and stuff. So, yeah, but I've only been doing that for about 4 days now. So more results on that as they happen. Comment here from Ed. Dr. Ken Berry is at a good weight, but he's not super thin. Dr. Nick Norwitz is somehow ripped. I've noticed that too, about Nick Norwitz. Like, and it's not like I don't think he's strict carnivore either. He's like keto. And, like, I just, he's very, very low. Like, his body fat percentage is very low. And yeah, I wish I could get to that point, but I don't think I'd ever get to that point. Yeah, have you any thoughts on that, Bob?
Yeah, well, Nick Norwitz is young.
That's a good point
he's
too.
just a kid. Even if I started the entire Dr. Baker exercise routine today, I am 62 years old. Dr. Baker is not that much younger than us, but he started working out when he was in his 20s and 30s. So he has baseline muscle. I don't think, no matter how many protein shakes and deadlifts and all of the other things that he does, no matter how hard I work out, I will never have a body that looks like Dr. Baker's. It's just not possible. Whereas Nick Norwitz, I think he's super thin but has muscles because he does a lot of weird stuff. I mean, if you remember, he did that. I ate whatever the heck it was, 720 eggs in a month or whatever it was.
Right.
And he does a lot of goofy experiments on himself, which is good. I mean, he gets some answers for what works for him, but yeah, a lot of it is, your body. To get back to the question at hand here, your body's going to land where it should be. You might end up, getting a little bit thinner, a little bit leaner, or you might actually end up putting on a little bit of weight. But your body will find the place where it's comfortable. And as I talk about a lot on my channel, and we said already, Dave already said this, how do you feel? If you feel okay and you can do the things you want to do, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, agreed. And yeah, comment from Mark Yost. It's genetics with Nick. Yeah. And yeah, we forget as well, like as Bob mentioned, the age thing that plays a big role in it as well, right? Yeah.
And back in the comments, I do want to grab one of them real quick that was back their way. Somebody, I thought I saw somebody asking about Morton salt.
Oh, okay.
The thing I will tell you about that particular type of salt that's really cheap in your grocery store, go get it out of your cupboard right now and look at the ingredients list. I would almost guarantee that the second ingredient after salt is sugar. They may call it dextrose, they may call it something else, but the salts that you buy in the grocery store for $1.50 to $2 for a great big tub of it, it's not real salt. Use whatever. I use real salt. The name just slipped away from me, but any good mined salt is what you want to use because it's going to have extra minerals and stuff in it. People have tried, they don't like the real salt that I use because they're like, oh, it's so gritty. Well, real salt is a little bit gritty, but you get used to it. If you look at the big tubs of stuff that Dr. Chafee, I think it is, that uses on his meat, and Dr. Baker uses, I think the same thing, comes in a big tub, big chunks of salt crystals on their food. Because a good mined salt will have the stuff in it that you want. You don't want sea salts because most of the sea salt that they make, they just take ocean water and evaporate the water off, and that's going to have a bunch of Redmond. Thank you. Redmond's real salt is what I use. But any of the sea salts are probably going to be infested with microplastics too, because they basically just take seawater and boil it off till they get the salt.
Right.
Any more thoughts on that for yourself there, Dave?
Yeah, no, I tried, what was the salt that I tried? I can't remember. But it was that flaky stuff, and it's really nice. But it was very expensive. So now I just buy like a Himalayan pink salt from the supermarket, and that's great for me. And I've heard the pinkness of it indicates there's some potassium in there as well. So it's like you're getting those extra minerals.
Yeah. But make sure when you're buying pink Himalayan salt that it's real Himalayan salt. If the price of it appears to be too good to be true, it probably is, because I know this is going to be shocking to many of you out there, but there are actually some companies that will take regular old salt and put pink food dye in it and sell it to you as pink salt. And you're like, why are all these other pink salts $10 for the tub this size, and this one's only $3?
Mm.
Well, I'm telling you, the $3 one is not real Himalayan salt.
So it's funny you mentioned that. Like, there's a yakiniku place, like a barbecue beef place, restaurant, not far from us, and on the table they've got pink salt. But it's I think because the taste is really weird, I think it's like just basically table salt dyed pink. It's yeah, it's pretty dodgy.
Yeah. And I see Lamb's is doing a Celtic sea salt, which is, perfectly fine. You just have to be careful where, you want to read it real carefully to find out where they're getting the salt from.
Bill, yes, that's the one I tried, Malden's, but it was it was very, very expensive. Yeah. But that might just be because I'm in Japan. Okay, and so Paul is just commenting based on what we were talking about with Deborah Lane, with her not feeling great after a year, but Kay's consultant fee right now is very nicely priced.
Yeah, if you look at what he charges versus, what was it I heard the other day that a certain doctor whose name rhymes with salad is charging like $1,000 for a private consultation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's that's a consultation that needs to be made of gold. Wow.
Yeah.
$1,000. And I guess that's for like 50 minutes or something. Bloody hell.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I know if you go to Professor K's Patreon page, he's got it all listed out, and you can buy a monthly membership at the top level, which is it's like 50 or 60 bucks for the month, which is expensive, but you get, I think it's
you get to talk to him or something.
Yeah, you get like 2 different Zoom call private one-on-one consultations for that, which is about as cheap as it gets.
Right. Yeah.
Considering his vast knowledge.
Yeah. Oh wow. Pakistan use explosives to mine the Himalayan salt. Oh, that's a bit scary because the one I'm using says from Pakistan. Whoa. Yeah, that's a bit scary.
Yeah. Just a little extra minerals in there.
Yeah. Some TNT with your potassium. Yeah. Okay, do we have any more questions? Have I missed something? So Aid says Olsen's sea salt in Australia is excellent and has a full mineral profile. Oh, nice.
Yeah. See, there you go. And there are so many different salts out there. Yeah, if you're gonna go buy the round blue package with the umbrella girl on it, real salt is going to be a lot more expensive than that. But it's still, I get the last time I bought some, because I have 2 unopened packages up there ready to be packed into my car. They're 1 pound packages that I get here in the States from Redmond's Real Salt, and it's like $10 for a pound. It's $9.99 or $8.99 depending on what the price is that month, but it's about $10 a pound. But a whole pound of salt goes a really long way, unless you happen to be me, who I heavily salt my food. I like salt so much I buy both kinds. I buy the finely ground stuff that you can take out of the shaker. And I use the shaker in the pan while I'm cooking. And then, because that's not quite salty enough for me, I have the next size up crystals in a tub on the table, so that when I sit down, I can take a couple good sized fingerfuls and sprinkle the flakes over top of my food too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a couple more questions here to wrap up today. Hang on a second. Carnivore, Steve, Bob, and Dave. What do you guys drink, and does it tend to be close to the same amount every day?
I drink
Yeah,
water.
yeah. I'm
Well,
drinking
and I
about
have coffee. I
2 liters of
mean,
sparkling water and coffee. Yeah.
I have water, and in the morning, I run that water through some lovely ground coffee beans, but it's still just water,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
all I drink.
Mm.
Coffee in the morning and water throughout the day. And is it about the same amount? Probably so. I drink a lot of water because I've had gout. And one of the things that used to keep my gout at bay a little bit was drinking a lot of water. So I've
Mm.
gotten to the point where my body likes. I mean, I have a big 32-ounce thing of water that I keep next to my computer, and I probably refill that 5 or 6 times a day, which is a lot more water than most people drink. But it seems like my body needs that because it's just that's what it's gotten used to over the years.
Mm.
But yeah, I would say it's about the same every day. What about you, Dave?
Yeah. I'm like, I mean, my test at the moment with coffee is just one a day, and that's in the morning, and then after that, it's just sparkling water for the rest of the day. And yeah, at some point, I'll mix up some. I'll mix up some. What do you call it? Magnesium and potassium and stuff in a glass of it, but that's about it. So we've got a last question here from Mr. Beaumont. How long do keto flu symptoms usually last for, and are they worse on carnivore than straight keto? I think.
Yes and yes. Primarily, keto flu symptoms happen because you change your diet from one thing to another thing too quickly. So if you're having bad flu symptoms, back up, slow down, and transition slower. The other thing that can help a lot is up your electrolyte intake a lot, even more than you think. If you think you're already using a lot of electrolytes, use even more, because during this, what causes a lot of the keto flu, as you're first transitioning, your body has this whoosh where you start shedding all of that excess water that you have from inflammation. What's contained in that excess water? Electrolytes. So your electrolytes are being peed out. I mean, it's great because you can watch the scale go down over the first few weeks because, you're in the bathroom peeing every half hour to 45 minutes because your body is just shedding all of this stuff, but it's taking your electrolytes with it. And that's really what the cause of the keto flu symptoms are. What are your thoughts on that, Dave?
Yeah, I would say it's a long time since I've experienced the proper keto flu symptoms, but yeah, keep your electrolytes up, and it's going to minimize any problems that you have. But I think as far as how long it's going to last, I mean, I think that's probably a lot related to where you are in your eating journey and your journey overall. Sometimes some people it's going to hit them harder and it's going to last longer. But yeah, the best thing you can do is keep your electrolytes up. Yeah. So thank you for that, Mr. Beaumont. So we're on the hour. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you coming in with your questions and chats and spending the last hour with us. And I guess we'll be back with you in another couple of weeks. Bob.
Yeah, I really like this time. I say this every time, but I really do love these live chats. I get to talk to my friend Dave. I get to talk about what you guys want to talk about. It's a great way to go. And I like this time. But always remember, get out there, be 1% better.